Yeah, I still think even in the 80s when the whole hip-hop movement was going, the Canadian hip-hop, even in the underground, we could say, as I'm saying, I'm still putting Maestro up there, but he did the track, he was doing the bridge with Showbiz and AG as well. So at that point, fine-tuned the mic, and it was a dangerous album. And even at the time, Mishi Me was out there with MC Light and the whole female movement. So that was another bridge as well, too, for getting the hip-hop. But at that point, it was still in that underground stage. And I think when Cardi did the grinding, or we can still talk about the Soccer and Tony Touch, that was starting to elevate the whole, like, everyone was looking at Canadian, yeah, these guys are for real.
Okay, musically saying, did you want to chime in on that, or?
Nah, man, pretty much summed it up right there. I was gonna say, like,
he's writing notes to me, and I'll just read it.
Yeah, Fine Tune the Mic definitely for Maestro. I think opened up a lot of doors. I mean, plus with saying Mishi Me, if I remember correctly, like KRS-One and those guys came up here actually to work with Mishi Me and do stuff with her. She was on First Priority, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean,
that was like a bridge album too, because it was First Priority audio too. Yeah. Mishi Me was on the cut of that album. So.
For those tuning in right now, you're listening to a segment called Canada's Getting Colder. We're reviewing perspectives of Canadian hip-hop culture across Canada, and we're speaking to a few of some of the highlighted DJs and music connoisseurs across the country when it revolves around Canadian hip-hop. Now, we started to get into the conversation. We talked about the star power and how that's really impacted the crossover appeal of hip-hop to the masses across Canada. Does star power impact your choice in music as DJs, and if not, does it impact the choice of the average consumer? And that's open to everybody.
Definitely for me, I can see how it affects the consumer. Me personally, I'm more focused on the quality of lyrics, the quality of recording, just the overall quality of songs and songwriting. But I think it's more of an after topic to look at. Like, I'll take into consideration like J. Cole blowing up. Like, he's not really a star yet, but his star power, being co-signed from other lyricists in the game, kind of makes me look at him more. Yeah, from a Canadian perspective, I think the star power is kind of lacking here. So, it definitely makes you look at music differently when there's no star power behind it. Like,
I so agree with him, especially like quality for sure for me is like a big thing, because I think a lot of people, they do not realize how hip-hop, how big it is. There's a lot of artists, a lot of underground, what they'll call underground artists, but there is just hip-hop in general. A lot of music nobody knows about these are. So as radio DJs, or us on the radio, it's our job to really get this music out there and take it from there. That's
As just to add to the fact, definitely for myself, it's about the music first. Like, I've been supporting guys like Tona and Drake on mixtapes since '06, and now, like I said, because Wayne co-signs, dude, the masses love him, you know what I mean? Or it takes that to get to the general public on a level like Billboard and pop culture level, which is unfortunate. I'm not mad at that, because it's still exposing talent, you know what I mean? Good talent. But for me, it's about the music first, and I think this, like Wes said, the star power definitely might help, draw attention to a certain artist, but it should be about the music first. I think that's the case with all the DJs here. That's why we do this at the end of the day.
I think it's great for hip hop. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but it's great for hip hop. Even you have your little pop hip hop, your hip hop here, and it's great for the movement of hip hop, because we are reaching like a whole audience that would never even know, okay, this is hip hop, and then it gives them an idea, okay, let's dig further into this hip hop movement, see what other artists are out there. So I think it's great. Some people will say, nah, it's too poppy, but it's great that it's still out there.
It's opening doors, yeah.
Talking to a host of DJs right now in the studios of CHRY 105.5 in the middle of a documentary radio broadcast called Canada's Getting Colder, a joint perspective on Canadian hip-hop culture. Now, I talked before about the fact that we talked to other DJs across the country, so I'm going to let DJ Arms in on this conversation for a little bit, and I'll let you hear some of his feedback out of Vancouver. And he's going to continue the discussion we had about star power, and more importantly, although we say that star power doesn't influence our choices, one of the questions that I posed to DJ Arms was the fact that as DJs, we receive so much music, literally hundreds of new tracks every month. And more times than not, the DJs will pick an artist who is of similar caliber in terms of production, content, quality of lyrical delivery, but if he's American, he gets to forward in the club before a similar artist in Canada. So we'll hear what Arms has to say about that, and then we'll have you guys chime in on that.
Yo, this is DJ Arms, representing Faction Sam Crew out of Van City. That's a good point, and I chalk that up to, yeah, I may do that, but a lot of the time that comes down to people filling the song, right? And what's getting pushed out there. And unfortunately, we do have our, CRTC laws that say we play the 33% or whatever it is, but that doesn't necessarily mean that stuff is getting played. They may not be that great or whatnot, but, the quality is there. What do start to get their huge amounts of push from the States and, become bigger up here. Whereas, a track I may be feeling may not get any spins at all commercially. And I'll still put it in my set, but whether or not I drop it during a primetime set, it's a little more difficult. Beats banging, you can always do that, but and it goes, by notability and if people know it,
DJ Arms from Vancouver representing Faction Sound Crew, and in studio we have Channel 9, Musically Insane, Grand Wiz, and DJ Respect. Continuing on that topic, we do agree that there's a lot of quality Canadian hip-hop, but does it make it into the playlist of the average program director and or DJ in the clubs? And why is that? I'll open that up to you guys again.
For me, I think there's a little bit of politics that go on. It's not like I'm calling anybody out or anything, but I think just certain people that are just in positions of power tend to, kind of just deal with the people that they're dealing with face to face. And a lot of artists don't have the, travel money to kind of be all around and up in clubs, up in offices and radio stations, people's faces. So they kind of get brushed under the rug if they're not willing to just go that whole route. So I think that plays a part in it. Just the politics and the dynamics of the scene here. Toronto's, speaking specifically towards Toronto, it's like, we're halfway in between New York and other major cities in our own country, and we're kind of on our own. So we don't really, it's not that easy for, let's say a New York MC to drive out to Philly, do a show, or kind of break himself. So it's like, if you're not really meeting people and always in people's ear, then, what would be the onus upon them to really stick up for you? I know Respect probably is just his natural love of MCs and Canadian hip-hop, why he puts it on his own back to do it. But I mean, there's no real incentive there, so it's not something people are getting really paid for or nothing like that.
All right.
So it's kind of their own decision to just be more political about who they promote.
So let me talk to the DJ about this, because again, as a DJ, one of the things that I've made a change of myself over recent years is, once the quality got to the point where it was comparable to what's coming out of the States, what's coming out of the UK and things of that nature, I made a decided choice to start playing more Canadian music. And obviously, again, in the clubs, there is a barrier, like Arms was talking about from Vancouver. He was talking about the fact that people just don't know the artists as much and things of that nature. But if the quality's there and we don't have an infrastructure in Canada that will support that, who does that now fall on? So I'll just let you guys talk about that. Talk about the concept of playing an artist, Canadian versus American, if quality's not in.